Welcome to Save Your Sanity. Tonight we're going to be talking about the high cost involved in loving a narcissistic person, a hijackal of any stripe. And it's very important to notice because you incrementally pay a higher and higher price at the same time that you feel like you're losing yourself, losing your sanity, and beginning to be filled with self-doubt. So stay tuned and we'll figure these things out tonight. Are you in a crazy-making relationship? Feel anxious, angry, and unsafe? Welcome to Save Your Sanity. Insights, skills, strategies, and inspiration for emerging empowered from toxic relationships and breaking the bonds of emotional abuse. Keep listening. We'll figure a few things out. Yes, it's really important to recognize that someone else can cause you to doubt yourself repeatedly. And sometimes it happens very slowly. They cause you to second guess yourself, to wonder if you really think or feel what you've just expressed that you think or feel. And they're telling you that you don't feel that. They're gaslighting you. And after a while, you feel worn down, and you may begin to believe the gaslighting and truly be second guessing yourself. So when we actually engage in self-doubt, we are losing confidence in ourselves, in our abilities, in the knowledge of ourselves, in knowing what we want or think or feel or need, or what we remember. All of those things are eroded by the gaslighting of a narcissistic person. And it can leave you just feeling empty, just worn down and torn down and put down and ground down. And they have this exact need to exact this high cost from you because they feel that they have to be right, be first, be in charge, be in control, have all the power. They just need to constantly make you less than in the hopes of making themselves feel larger. And it is exhausting. And if you have experienced it, you'll know how exhausting it is. Whether that's your parent, a partner, a sibling, an adult child, it's exhausting. It can happen at work. It's exhausting. And there's no room for you left. The whole idea is for them to take up all the space, breathe all the air in the room, and leave you absolutely none. And they want to do that so that you get the bare leftovers. And I've said in other episodes that there's another thing that this leads to, which is that you get so little from them that when they do give you something, usually because they want something from you, and they're afraid you're not going to give it to them, but when they want something from you, they all of a sudden throw you a few breadcrumbs. And you are so relieved. Oh, they do like me. They do like me. And you would probably say they love me. And there's no evidence up until that moment that they have for showing they love you. But then they throw you a few things that you think are loving because you're so starved for love, for approval, for validation, for affirmation, that you fail to see that they're doing it for their own purposes, to get something that they want. So they starve you, and then they feed you a little, and it feels like a meal. And I've spoken about that in several episodes, so look them up. But when we're talking about the creation of self-doubt, it is way too high a cost for loving a narcissistic person. And it doesn't mean you have to stop loving them, although sometimes you will stop loving them because you see who you've been loving in the clear light of day, and you say, no, I don't love that. I truly don't love that. But I may have mistaken what I was receiving for love, which it wasn't. But sometimes it takes a while to get far enough away from a hijackal to see that, to step back far enough. to honestly believe that you deserve to be treated better than that. It's very important. So I put together a list of 10 signs of self-doubt that also you will recognize as signs of low self-esteem, but you'll also recognize exactly how the hijackal perpetuates that and perpetrates it. And then you can do something with it. My intention is to say, hey, what about this? Is this happening in your life? Is this sounding familiar to you? And if it is, then you will see it. Or you, as I like to say, you'll wake up and smell the herbal tea and say, I need to pay attention. So I was looking at the Australian health website from the government of Australia, and there were quite a few things about self-esteem there. And I thought, boy, this list is really close to what I would say about a person who doubts themselves. So let's talk about these 10 things, because these are also things that a hijackal perpetuates, as I said, wants to play on, wants to keep you down with, is constantly contributing to the negative in it, and you will recognize that too. So the first one is you may have a lot of self-doubt if you find that you're saying negative things about yourself and being critical of yourself. A hijackal certainly criticizes you and says negative things about you. So it's coming from the outside at you. But after you've heard that for a long time, you may begin to repeat that in your inner dialogue too. I've shared with you that I had a hijackal mother and a passive-aggressive father. So I attracted a few partners who were definitely of the hijackal variety. And they like to pull me down. They like to say the negative things that I recognized from my mother. And so I would think, oh, well, I haven't changed. And no, the fact is I hadn't changed who I'd chosen. And so that's when I was doing the work and I figured it all out. And yes, these things happen to you. If you had a hijackal parent who was putting you down, who was overly critical, or failing to approve of you or validate you or affirm you, you very well may find familiarity in choosing a partner like that. I certainly did, but it was all unconscious. You didn't know that. But when you start to really look into this, which is why I do the podcast, so people can really look into it, you begin to see there are some patterns, and you're very wise to have a look. Just take those 4 steps back and say, I'm just going to be an observer of what's going on within me, what's going on within the relationship, what's going on within the hijackal, and I'm going to see if I can make some objective sense of it. Instead of how I feel, I'm going to see if I can see the patterns. And one of them certainly is that they will criticize you, judge you, and put you down. And you may have internalized that and started saying negative things about yourself or being overly critical of yourself. Not just asking normal questions about that are self-reflective, but becoming critical of yourself. Oh, I am such a klutz. I am so dumb. Oh, I couldn't think my way out of a paper bag. If you're saying those kinds of things to yourself, they came from somewhere. And usually someone else said them to you, you internalized them, and now you're repeating them. So you can see that the good news is you can change that pattern. But to change a pattern, you have to see it first. So important to notice, are you doing that? Are you saying negative things or being critical of yourself far too often? Especially in your self-talk. Now, the second thing that is part of self-doubt is you make jokes about yourself in a negative way. You make yourself the brunt of the joke. You joke about yourself before anybody else can hurt you. That's actually more to the truth of the matter. But that will seed self-doubt. It will also contribute to low self-esteem. And that's something that many, many people do. If they've been criticized, they start using humor to deflect the pain. It's common. You may be doing it. It may have become a pattern for you. So hopefully as you hear this, you will stop and see that pattern and say, that's not going to take me anywhere good. If I'm not on my team, why would anyone else be? We have to be a leader of our own life, not a follower of someone else telling us who we are and how we are. So we want to be very careful about making jokes about ourselves in a negative way. Someone might tell you that self-deprecating humor is fine, and it can be. I used to be a professional speaker, and that would always be something that I could say, and it was all right in that context, but it wasn't that I was thinking that about myself. And there had been times when I had, but I had learned not to. And I hope you will as well. Because if you recognize that one, that you are making yourself the brunt of your own jokes, you are internalizing other people's poor opinions of you. And probably the hijackal has taught you that. I know mine certainly did. And the third thing that may be seeding self-doubt is that you're focused on your negatives and you ignore your achievements. You can be doing absolutely wonderful things in the world, and all you're focused on is the things you don't do as well as you'd like to. That's very, very difficult. Now, a hijackal will always want to rob you of your achievements. They'll always want to tell you you could have done more. Why are you so excited about that? It's not that big a deal. Or you'll have a celebration for an achievement or a success that you have created, and they will ruin it by not coming or pouting the whole time. And so you stop celebrating yourself and you stop celebrating your achievements because they just make it endlessly difficult. Does that ring true for you? Because it certainly can be the case. And that's so hard. It's just so difficult, right? It's something that you adopt from your earlier life. Other people are doing it, so you adopt it, you know? And when you want to make up your life from the things that you want to put in it, not the things that other people have given you that you have taken on unexamined. You want to choose who you are and how you are in the world. And if you begin to focus on the negatives about yourself and not see the achievements, not see the values, not see all the good in you, then you may have been adapting, or inherited something from some other relationship with some other person who was dedicated to keeping you down. Number 4 is that you blame yourself when things go wrong. Now, a hijackal is always going to blame you when things go wrong. So that can be a habit that you know is coming at you. But you may have internalized that one. And you already get ahead of it. Say, oh, I know it's my fault. Before they even tell you it's your fault. You already have decided that it must be your fault. That habitual manner of thinking about yourself is very, very slippery slope to getting into anxiety and depression. Don't blame yourself when things go wrong. Say what you could have done differently. Say what you learned from the experience. But blaming yourself when things go wrong, examine that very, very carefully. Now, the hijackal is going to blame you when things go wrong with the hijackal because they cannot tolerate any idea that they're less than perfect. So if you're raised by one or you're with one, or have been with one, you're used to being blamed for everything. And again, you start blaming yourself. If you're free of a hijackal, you may notice that that's one of the more difficult internal conversations to break. So really notice if you find yourself blaming yourself first and get more circumspect about how you look at things. See all sides of it, not just that, oh, there I go again, making a mistake, being wrong, not being good enough. And if you need help, Get some help. You can certainly talk to me. Just use my new client one-time 1-hour offer for only $97 at beaclient.com. Beaclient.com. It's always there for you. You want to talk about these things? Great. We can work together after if you like, but use that hour well. Or if you also want to talk with other like-minded people, jump into my emerging empowered community at joinintoday.com. There are so many wonderful things there that members get, videos and workbooks and all kinds of things right for your membership. But you also get 3 group Ask Me Anything calls a month. So that's definitely worth it. So go to joinintoday.com. If these things are sounding familiar to you, you may need help and support or other people's stories to lift yourself out of it more readily, to say, oh, it happened to other people. It's not just me. I'm not the terrible one. And every hijacker will want you to believe that, of course, you were the terrible one. Of course, you were the one who screwed everything up. Of course, you were the one to blame for everything, because, of course, it was your fault. And that's just what they do to deflect any possible blame coming their way. Now, number 5 is thinking other people are better than you. Oh, that's a big one. Do you by any chance have an inside thought that other people are better than you? That thought could have been a seed thought from long ago, where you were not allowed to feel equal. And you know how often I speak about equality. No one is better than anyone else. Yes, people may behave better, but we're not better than one another. And you are an equal to everyone else. Yes, no, you may not be the same kind of person, but you're certainly not less than them. And that's important. It's really important. And a hijackal needs you to constantly feel like you are inferior to them. You are less than they are. They are superior to you. And they will try to talk you into accepting that you are a lesser human being. And if you start thinking that other people are better than you, you're also creating more of that affirmation within you. We're not bigger or better or smaller or worse than others. That's not what we spend our time focusing on. I hope, we have equality. We deserve honesty, safety, trust, respect, reliability, integrity, compassion, kindness, all the good things that healthier humans agree make the world a better place. Make sure you're giving it to yourself, because a hijackal will never give it to you. So give it to yourself. Be sure that you are. Because if you find yourself in that feeling of I'm less than other people, the first thing is to start feeling like you deserve to take up the space in the room. You deserve to have a full breath. You deserve to take your place as an equal human being. That's all, equal, not better or worse. And you can do that just by reminding yourself, there's nobody in this room who is better or worse than I am. No, we're equals. Some people may be better at some things. Some people may be more aware, but they're not better than. It's a pretty tricky concept when you start to think about it, isn't it? But it's something that hijackals use to make you feel less than, so they can have power over you because you don't deserve their respect. And that's what they say. Now, of course, you deserve respect. So, number 6, thinking you don't deserve to have fun or joy or have love or have peace. You do. You do. Now you have to participate in it. You have to know that you do deserve to have fun and joy and love and peace and all good things. And you have to do what it takes internally to move yourself to accept that possibility. It's not just going to rain fun, joy, love, and peace, and you just capture it. You have to put yourself in a mindset and know that it's available to you and be open to receiving it and seeing it. But if a hijackal has caused you to doubt yourself, you will start thinking that you live under a cloud or under a rock, and that's where you should live. That's what they want you to believe. And you know how I am really endeavoring to eradicate that word should from the English language. But a hijackal will should on you and tell you you should do this, you should feel this way, you should think this way. No. You're a fully functioning human being, and you could think anything you want. And when you accept that, you start to eradicate self-doubt. No, I can do it my way. I can think my way out of a paper bag. I know what I value. I know what I want. I know what I'd like to do next. I think I know what my next best step is. And if I make a mistake, I'll course correct. But I don't need a hijackal to be sitting on me telling me I need to stay down. No. But that's the idea. If they can keep you second guessing yourself and questioning your sanity, it's a big win for a hijackal. They now have power over you, and they can take you down in a heartbeat or in a look. Absolutely. But the good news is that you can change these things. You absolutely can. And that's where your power lies, when you start to reclaim your personal power and rebuild your life. And if you're finding value from this podcast, I'm so grateful for the subscribers who support it with a small donation every month or a one-time donation, which you can do at patreon.com/saveyoursanity. patreon.com/saveyoursanity. Because there's so much there for you. There are over 300 episodes of Save Your Sanity. And if you go to saveyourSanityPodcast.com, that's my site. So you can do a search there just on my podcast, as opposed to going to the places where you like to get your podcasts and hoping that you can find mine among all of them. If you're looking for something specific, go to Save Your Sanity Podcast and search there. It's much, much easier to find. And you'll find the very, very specific things that you want. Okay, so number 7. You sow self-doubt and you lower your self-esteem when you cannot accept compliments. When somebody says something that they appreciate about you, take it in. The response to it is thank you, not, oh, this, I got it on sale. No, the response is thank you. That's good to hear. Can you do that? Do you do that? Or does that make you feel uncomfortable? Have you gotten to the place where you're so doubting yourself that when someone gives you a compliment, you can't take it in, you won't take it in? Well, that's a big red flag. You can notice that right away. If that's what's happening and you're not taking in compliments, you can fix that quickly because you can see it clearly. All it takes is when someone gives you a compliment to say thank you and take it in. Someone appreciates me. Someone is thinking positive thoughts about me. Great. Take it in. Because the hijackal is only going to do it when they want something. But if someone else does it, that's where you'll get your practice. Get that from the world. Allow those compliments to live, to have a a life that you receive them. You don't deny them. You receive them. You take them in, and you allow yourself to be grateful and believe the compliments. It's a big ask for some people. You know, if you've had a hijackal parent and then you moved on to a hijackal partner, it's sometimes pretty hard to take in a compliment. Now, number 8 is you avoid challenges for fear of failing. That self-doubt, I can't do anything. I can't do anything. I might not get it right. I might not see it through. I might not do it. Again, you can change that. You know, one of the things I notice with many people I talk to who want to leave a hijackal, they have this. They're avoiding the challenge of leaving for fear of failing. And you might think that. You might be feeling afraid to leave the relationship, but you can do it with the right help. You know, it's even easier. Now, I've written courses and things for you, and you'll find them at relationshipprograms.com. There's courses, self-study courses, seminars, video courses, and things. So go to relationshipprograms.com. One of the programs that's just going live in the next couple of weeks is called Executing My Exit. The actual steps, everything you need to think about to prepare to leave, and then to do what it takes to execute that plan. And yes, it can be very difficult. And yes, you may want to turn back a few times, but don't be afraid of the challenge. Don't be afraid of failing. Think about how life would be when you are not being put down on a regular basis. Yeah, I know, you have children, you're still going to have to interact, you're still going to take some flack, all of that is going to happen. But there's also going to be a whole lot of time when you don't have to be watching your back. And that's so important. So just notice if you're not doing things because of the fear of failing, because that means the seeds of self-doubt have been sown deeply in you. And you can change that. You know, let's talk about it. Let's work it through. Let's make it happen. Now, number 9, how we get the self-doubt, how we get the low self-esteem and the low self-confidence is being overly upset by other people's disapproval. And of course, we learned that when we were children. So it's a hard one to extinguish, but I really invite you to look at it carefully, because the hijackal wants you to be in a place where you are overly upset by disapproval, so the hijackal can use it to have power over you. They will just withhold their approval and up-level their disapproval in order to keep you upset. They want to know they can push your buttons at any time and they can have that power. So when you are working to see how on earth did I get this level of self-doubt, it's because you are still letting other people's lack of approval of you or their disapproval to upset you. It's about them, not about you. They're doing what they're doing. And that's a big leap, I know. But it is very important to recognize that if you are still overly upset when someone disapproves of you, start thinking about, whoa, do I approve of them? Because why would I be looking for the approval of someone of whom I don't approve? You know, I had to learn that one the hard way. After my mother passed, I realized there was still a part of me that was waiting for her approval, and yet there wasn't one part of me that approved of the woman she was. And that was a big, big lesson. Could that be true for you? Are you maybe being upset by the disapproval that comes from somebody you don't approve of anyway? It's very important to look at, because it starts when you're little and it builds. Number 10 is feeling, and this is a big one, feeling sad or anxious or depressed or ashamed or angry or worthless. If you're feeling any of those things, it's time to say, Are these feelings that I have coming from other people telling me who I am, other people gaslighting me, or the way other people treat me? Or do I personally take responsibility for having examined who I am, and then I find that I'm feeling these things? Because so much of it is being squished, depressed, repressed, suppressed, and who you are by a hijackal who doesn't want anything less than full power over you. And if you know, when you've been with a hijackal for quite a while, that you do become anxious because you're always looking over your shoulder. Is there anything they're going to complain about? Have I done anything wrong? Are they going to pick up on something? What is going to be their mood? You're anxious about it. And after a while, you can get depressed because things are never going to change. Well, you can be the agent of change. It takes courage. It takes hard work. I'm the first to say that because I walk with people every day who are doing the hard work. It takes the hard work, but you're worth it. You're absolutely worth it, because if a hijackal can have power over you to make you sad or anxious or depressed or ashamed or angry or worthless, they're going, yay, look what I did. I have broken this person. They are under my control. I have power over them. And I'm inviting you to stand right up and say, no, not any longer. I may not feel totally strong in this right now, but I will soon. And no, you're not going to do that to me. You are not going to erode my self-confidence by planting self-doubt. Things hijackals say to you. Who do you think you are? What makes you think you deserve anything? You're not smart enough or good looking enough or educated enough or willing enough or compliant enough or patient enough to have any good come to you at all. Or I know you better than you know yourself, which may be the ultimate gaslighting statement of all time. But the hijackal wants to erode your self-confidence. They need to, because they need to have that power over you. And they will wear you down and tear you down and put you down and keep you down, getting you questioning yourself, second guessing yourself, asking yourself, oh, did I do it? I don't remember. I thought I did this, but they're telling me I didn't do it. If you need to, start keeping notes for yourself so you know what you did and what you said, and making a journal so that when they tell you that you didn't, you know you did. And start believing you, not them. A hijackal says they know what's right, they know what's needed, they know how things should be and how you should be, and they don't want any input from you. They just sort of have a sign on them, input from you is not required. Or they come at you with the belittling and the discounting and the dismissiveness, or they make fun of you. And that will sow those seeds of self-doubt and erode your self-confidence. But that's on them. Look at how they're behaving. Instead of taking the result of their words and making yourself smaller, start stepping back those 4 important steps and say, wow, you really think that you are right and I am wrong. There is no room for me, and you should have all the space. You should suck all the air out of the room, and I should die of oxygen starvation. You really think those things. You really see those things. And when you start to have that distance from them, and that you start to see those patterns and traits and cycles, then you begin to say no with a little more firmness. No, this is not what I want. No, I don't feel that way. No, I don't think that. No, I don't want that. And you start to make some shifts. Now, go back to many of the episodes where I tell you, never poke a hijackal. It doesn't turn out well. But these are internal conversations you're having where you're recognizing in that being 4 steps back and observing, this is unhealthy. This is not good. This is not accurate. And I'm not going to live with that in this way any longer. So self-doubt means that you've lost faith in yourself. You've lost faith in your opinions, your thoughts, your values, your feelings, your needs, your wants, your goals, your desires, your plans, and your right to have them. You've just been chipped away and become smaller and smaller and smaller. And I'm inviting you to start to inflate, to say, no, I deserve to draw a breath and take up space here. I have thoughts and feelings and needs and wants and preferences, and I have the right to express them. Now, again, we're not going to make a big scene. We're simply going to expand, get larger, take up a little more space, go back and give up that lack of confidence. Say, no, I'm not going to doubt myself anymore just because you tell me that that would be appropriate. No, I'm not going to do that. Hijackals sow self-doubt in you, and you need to recognize that and reject it. Just reject it. I know it sounds so easy. It isn't. It's simple, but it's not easy, because you have to do the mental gymnastics all the time that they're blaming you or shaming you. You're having to negate that. Actually, that's not true. No, that's not the way I remember it. No, I've done many good things in my life. You're having to change your dialogue to remind yourself that you are worthwhile, that you can be confident, that you can increase your self-esteem and regain your voice. So very, very important. Because healthier humans are self-reflective. They want to take responsibility for their words and their actions. They want to be in relationship that it has equality, reciprocity, and mutuality. They want to collaborate and cooperate. They want these things. They want to feel loved. They want to give love. Hijackal humans don't. Their motto is take as much as you can, give as little. It's a simple equation for them. Always build their power. I'm not going to go into all the reasons why they need to do that. I've done that before. Just because there are reasons doesn't mean that you should put on your compassion hat and feel sorry for them. It's time to say, I deserve to take up space and draw a breath, and I am going to move in a direction of noticing that I do doubt myself sometimes. I abandon myself. I lose faith in myself because of all the things that have happened, but I'm going to turn that around, and I'm going to make a change. So if you have a hijackal partner, or parent, or sibling, or adult child who is grinding you down, it's time to move away from the grinder. Because once you recognize the source of that diminishment, and I know you already know where it is, then it's time to start backing away. You don't have to say you're going. You don't have to make the other person wrong. Remember, on my Facebook page at facebook.com/hijackals, I've got all kinds of memes there for you. One of them that is often liked by a lot of people is you don't have to make someone wrong to know they're not right for you. Look in the mirror, focus on yourself, keep moving forward, and say no to any further self-doubt or lack of self-esteem or erosion of your self-confidence. Don't let a hijackal take you down. You can do it. I know you can. And until we speak again, take very good care of yourself, because you're precious and you matter. Talk soon.